Hey, how's it going? Coltrane from Aidgentic here, and I'm excited to introduce this workshop to you from context to content in a hands-on system for turning ideas into video with AI, co-sponsored by HeyGen. Now, in today's workshop, I'm going to be teaching you how to transform your ideas into professional content using AI at different phases without losing your authentic voice or spending hours publishing. To dive into things, let's talk about why me? Who am I to be giving this workshop to you? What are you going to be learning through my unique lens? Well, for the last year and a half, I've been working as an AI automation consultant, and I'm also a HeyGen ambassador. This means that HeyGen, which is a company that specializes in building AI avatars to help people amplify their unique voice and message, saw that my work was relevant to what they were doing, and they wanted to partner up for events like these. In addition to that, I founded a niche content platform. I was a Boy Scout growing up, and that was extremely helpful for me in my development, in learning how to achieve goals, and just a really great experience in general. So after college, I decided to start a website to support scouting, share a lot of my knowledge, and even bringing some other Eagle Scout writers on board to do the same. That site ended up growing to exceed over 1 million annual visitors per year and had some partnerships with Scouting America, previously Boy Scouts of America. So that was a big venture, and that got me into marketing. From marketing, I worked in house for quite a few companies and then at an agency in my latest role, where I went on to find that we were drowning in busy work. We had to write reports, we had to do the same type of memo over and over. And this was around the time that ChatGPT was coming out, so I realized there must be a better way. I looked into Google Sheets macros, I looked into custom GPTs, and I ended up setting up an automation infrastructure within the agency that cut down our busy work time from about 50 hours per week to about 20. So then we could focus more time on those high growth initiatives that only we could handle, and clients love that. At that point, I saw that, the nature of my work had changed a bit, but there was so much potential with AI and doing this for other companies as well as for my own business that I knew I just couldn't stay in that one place anymore. So I left that company and I started Aidgentic with a co-founder. And so far, we've been able to help over 12 clients to develop these types of automation solutions for themselves. Big demographic of our client are coaches, real estate agents, basically sole proprietor type businesses where they're trying to do everything, wear all the hats, but they can't roll out nearly as much as they'd like, especially in the content department, because they have so much going on. This is how we've been able to help. We've made AI curated newsletters. We've set up outreach news reporting so that they can stay on top of their field and share information with their audience without it being a huge lift in their time. And that's also why I wanted to partner with HeyGen, because it helps you to amplify your message much more authentically while still, being able to be automated and not take up all your time. So all of this together, my work centers on leveraging AI to strengthen human connection, foster meaningful work, and honor local values. So in Hawaii, this means I envision technology supporting things like community care, professional growth, education for, our young Kama'aina. Schools like where I went to at Midpack and IAEA, like I think having curriculum inclusion of AI so that we on this island can leverage it to help ourselves to foster connectivity and to have a better impact in our own lives and the lives of others so that we can all rise up is a really important part of why I'm spending my time in this space and why I want to do this. I believe that AI used with kuleana, so a responsibility to each other in the community as well as a responsibility to our land and the place that we come from, can be a superpower for our islands because we're already inherently authentic. We just don't have a way to amplify that message. So my goal for this workshop is not automation for its own sake. It's not to put out a bunch of AI slop content, but it's to empower you with the tools to get those first messages out there. So all that being said, let's dive into the presentation. What we're building here today is a content maximizing workflow. So there's really 4 big components here. And you can kind of read this on your own time. You're going to have access to the slides. But essentially, this is how to turn general ideas in your head, because maybe you've been in a space for a really long time. Maybe you've just been thinking about it and you have brilliant ideas to share, but you're not really sure where to start. That's kind of the barrier that a lot of content creators run into at first. And my goal with this workshop here is to help you shortcut all of that. I'll give a walkthrough of what the flow is going to look like. So by the end of this workshop, I want you to have these 4 areas covered. So first is an Insight Capture Custom GPT. Basically, this is an assistant to help pick your brain and figure out where your deepest insights lie and how those can be positioned for content most effectively. Then, after using that, you're going to get a clear brand knowledge base. Now, this can be used not only in ChatGPT, but any other AI model that you want. It's something that you can download and re-upload and share with new employees or new contractors if they're onboarding and want to learn more about your brand. Then you're going to get a finished video with HeyGen. This is just a prototype. It's a proof of concept. I find a lot of times these videos do need a little bit of work, but I think it'll be an excellent example of what's possible. So this is going to be an AI generated video created from your own ideas using your own likeness or the likeness of another AI avatar. And it'll be basically ready to share. You can see how it looks and the ease at which you're able to make tweaks. It's pretty cool. And then finally, you're going to have a reusable content system. All of this together turns into an automation. I've actually been able to run everything that we're doing programmatically, so that means without logging into each of the tools and doing it. And that's kind of just the start of your automation briefing. Once you understand these components, then you're going to be able to understand everything so much more clearly. And there's a companion resource pack, so if you're following along here, you should have access to these. These are resources for HeyGen, your prompts, basically everything you're going to need. So even after this workshop, when you walk away, you're still going to have extremely valuable tools that my agency has charged hundreds or like even thousands of dollars to build for others. Well, I'm eager to start, but I just want to take a second to walk through this quick flow chart of how exactly things are going to be going on. I always say that the best way to get to an end result is to have a plan in mind and just walk through step by step what we're thinking. So here we are right now. At the starting point, you're going to be deciding your lens. So it's either a personal brand or a business brand. Now, why this is important is that you don't want to oversaturate your message. Basically, your social media page or whatever you're creating content for can be kind of a sales funnel in that you share different messages that you're wanting to share, and they can check it out, have unique value in each content, but it directs them to that final result. So having one brand in particular is super important. So your options are a personal brand or a business brand. Personal brand can be a topic that you genuinely care for and want to speak on consistently. Basically what you can't shut up about. So for me, it could be something like fitness. It could be something like mindfulness meditation. It could be like scouting, whatever you want. Business brand. This is a little bit different. You want to highlight your business values, what you stand for, what you actually don't stand for, what you stand against, what you want to be known for, all those things, customer testimonials, what impact you're trying to have on the world, all important to cover in business brand. Next, you're going to be using the tool called the Context Capture GPT. I have it linked in a second. It'll take you through a guided interview process. So it'll pose structured questions. It'll extract the value, the voice, the stories, opinions. It's a really cool tool. So get excited for that. The output of that automation is a brand context document. So it's going to capture your message, your tone, your boundaries, which will then be fed into a scriptwriter prompt. So this is going to generate 3 videos for HeyGen. You're going to pick one, refine it, maybe ask it to make some tweaks if you need. After that, you're going to select one video idea. You're going to, I guess, continually refine it there. And then generate the HeyGen script. It's going to have a solid hook, main ideas. Basically, this is programmed to know what works best on social media, general best practices, but also your voice and tone are included in that. And then HeyGen, the partner of today's video, and also the world's leading AI avatar creator, that will generate a first video version. And then you could choose an AI avatar or your own likeness to create this video. At that point, HeyGen has an internal editor where you can edit the video, choose different avatars, change the speed, change the wording. It's basically just like a copy-paste like text editor to edit the video. Finally, you'll have a video to export. All right, cool. So let's dive into what this actually looks like. Here's phase 1. So the first phase is the context capture assistant. I think I've hyped that up enough, but here we go. Right now we're in the ChatGPT interface. But a little bit about the context capture assistant before I dive in. You're going to talk through your ideas, answer structured questions, write freely and iterate, externalize insight. And here's a little bit more information on what you're choosing your lens around. But I'm just going to go straight into this. First, the button, how can you help? We'll have it give you a pretty solid overview of what it's able to do. So, here to help you think deeply, articulate your unique perspective, and turn your brilliant ideas into a content knowledge base. Cool. Okay. So, my example here is going to be for my scouting website. Yours can be for anything else, but I'm just going to keep this quick and try to make it punchy. Hey, thanks, Context Capture. Okay, so what I'm talking about today is my website, Scout Smarts. It's a website that helps to support scouts as they grow in scouting and take on leadership positions and earn their badges. What it essentially is a collection of the knowledge that I've gained on my own scouting journey. So basically, tips to finish requirements faster, stay on top of things, how to communicate better with your troop and your scout masters, your badge counselors, so that you can actually get things done and be more responsible and accountable. Another big part of scouting is that people really only work at it during meetings, or that's like the natural inclination. So this website helps scouts to take charge of their own scouting journey by focusing in every day or every other day for maybe 30 minutes, just working on requirements and knowledge so that they can refresh their head and actually come back to this instead of it like becoming a less frequent priority and then maybe them needing to give up later on before they reach their goal. Just a little bit of background on what I just did. The best way that I've seen to use ChatGPT is to verbally transcribe it. So you can see it synthesizes my information. What I'm hearing behind the description is agency. Scout Smarts isn't just tips for merit badges. It's about helping scouts to stop being passive participants in a system and start acting like leaders. Yeah, so that's spot on. I think that if you use this yourself, you're going to find that it takes your ideas, especially if they're vague and amorphous and you have a lot of them, and crystallizes it down to something that's extremely insightful and punchy and captures your whole brand ethos. Then it's going to ask you focused questions. So if Scout Smarts had one bold belief that it stood for, something you'd want every scout to internalize, what would that answer be? So then this is what I'm going to riff on next. In this flow, there's about 4 to 5 questions. I might just cut to the end if it's too long, but this will be the backbone of the knowledge base. Okay, that's a great question. So what Scout Smarts stands for, and what I want every scout to internalize, is that the future is ours to decide. We need to be prepared, and Scouting teaches us to be prepared by gathering the necessary resources, that being information, friendships, connections, like time, skills, whatever it is, self-discipline. All of it can help us to be more prepared for the future. And I think that, especially in this day and age where technology is moving so fast, being a scout is honestly like a superpower. It teaches you to separate from technology, first and foremost, because technology can be super pervasive, but when you're out with scouting, you usually don't have your phone. At least in my troop, we had a no phone policy there. So it teaches you that. It teaches you to be constantly learning new skills. In scouting, you need to earn at least 21 merit badges, which is basically a deep dive into individual skills. You'll be creating requirements, or completing requirements along that path, and you'll learn so much about each of the disciplines that you're earning merit badges that I think that information is so easy to roll over into an actual skill, like computer programming in real life, or studying for an AP class. Anything of that sort. I feel if you have experience in scouting, to break down hard challenges into individual tasks and problems to solve will be much easier. And then finally, I think that working together as a troop and honing your leadership, but also being part of a community and realizing that you'll need each other to survive is so important. And that also resonates with my background in Hawaii, because we are, in a way, a smaller community trying to create a better place for our islands and for our home and for the people around us. So that's what I think Scout Smarts should stand for. There. And then it responds pretty quickly. The future isn't something that happens, it's something you prepare for. Cool. And who is Scout Smarts for, really? Yes, I think this is a super insightful question. I've actually run through this before, and it's not a question that it asks, but I think because of my answer, it picked up on this need. So who is Scout Smarts really for? I think Scout Smarts is for someone that's very capable, a little bit anxious about the future, but also wants to get eagle and just wants a path. So if they knew what they were trying to do and they had a roadmap, they just go for it, and they like absorb all the resources, do every single thing they can, and take action. That's the kind of person that I want to empower. I felt a little bit like that myself when I was scout age, so that's who I really want Scout Smarts to be for. Someone that is just going to take that action and try to go like next step, and build momentum, but currently lacks the direction or lacks the why behind their scouting journey. That's what I'm really speaking to. Okay, I'm gonna answer one more question, and then I want you to output the knowledge base, or like output the knowledge base after my answer. So the moment I want them to imagine and think, oh, this is why scouting matters, is when they really get that message hammered in all the time that scouting actually increases your capacity to act in life. It improves your agency. It gives you a deeper appreciation of interpersonal dynamics. It teaches you how to learn. And if you go through the scouting journey and get as much as possible from it, you're going to be in Eagle Scouting completely transformed from the start of your journey, and that'll be something that will take with you for the rest of your life. A lot of times in this modern age, there's not transformation that takes place. You know, you might take a soccer like after school class, or you might join team sport, and at the end of it, sure, you've had a lot of fun, you've had a lot of memories, but you didn't necessarily excel. There was nothing forcing you to go from like, you know, being a level runner to like one of the best on the team. It's just a lot of times you're a participant in life. And I think if a scout can see that they're able to accomplish things permanently, that is like a huge benefit that they can't do anywhere else. And they can actually build things that matter through scouting. So one part of it is your Eagle Scout project. You have many other service projects in scouting, but the Eagle project is a full service project that you yourself plan and run. Oftentimes you have like 20, 30, 40, 50 volunteers, sometimes hundreds, but like you choose one aspect of your community you want to improve, you speak with the stakeholders, the project beneficiaries, you get fundraising, and you actually have like a day or a few days to have this project executed upon, and you're the leader of it. So scouting really shows you that you can go out and have an impact on your community, and that's not something that should be scary. I think that if scouts can realize that, that is much more compelling reason to stay than a reason to stay in anything else. Like pretty much school is the only comparison. Even then, you don't need to excel. But I think to really get the most out of scouting, you're encouraged to excel all the time, and you grow in so many ways. It's like evidence is irrefutable. It will make you a better person. All right, cool. So we're back here now, moving into phase 2 from context to ideas. So it's turning your knowledge base here into content. So what you're going to be doing is taking the provided prompt alongside the knowledge base. So this is the knowledge base that it outputted from everything that I discussed. Scout Smarts is this. The future is something you prepare for on purpose. It has some quotes. So I'll just take all of this. And what I want to illustrate here too, it could be done in a custom GPT, but because it's in a prompt, it'll show you that basically custom GPTs are just prompts with a kind of backend, so it focuses back on the same prompt over and over again, if that makes sense. So you can think of it like the first custom GPT, you just pasted your thing, but this was the prompt behind the custom GPT. That's why it's taking you through these ideas and helping you and creating that knowledge base. This is also a prompt, but if you wanted to use a different AI than ChatGPT, you could. Really, any AI has its pros and cons based on its training. So I would suggest trying all of them. Like there's Claude, there's Gemini. Some are better for writing, some are better for coding, some are better at searching the web and getting information. So with this phase, what I did is run the knowledge base through a prompt, and it came up with certain topics from that knowledge base. So this is the workflow. I'll just go through it really quickly. You're loading your context of the provided prompt into an AI tool. I'd encourage you not to use ChatGPT, but just for time's sake, I'm using ChatGPT. The AI will find 3 insightful topics and script content angles. Then we're going to refine those ideas through conversation, choose one to improve. Then at that point, I can add quotes, anecdotes, facts, anything that makes the information more dense and relevant. And then finally, when the idea is solid, I'll ask the ChatGPT instance to output the full script. Okay, so here are the ideas. Scouting as a training ground for agency. I love that. That's like spot on with what I was talking about. Learning how to learn through scouting. Also good. Then finally, the Eagle project as proof of real-world capability. Yeah, so these are all great. They're pretty much exactly what I talk for. Let's do this one. Let's do this. And then you can see the script. So let's see. Every future challenge rewards people who learn quickly. Okay. So I'm just giving a bit of a prompt. I can change it. So by 2030, over half of today's students will work in jobs that do not exist yet. The future rewards people who can learn fast and adapt with calm confidence. Scouting quietly trains this ability through structured hands-on experiences. Each requirement asks you to explore, practice, and explain what you understand. This is good. Maybe add a note that says that when I was a scout, initially I didn't know how to rank up, and for the first year or so, I had barely made any progress. But what changed was finding a buddy in my troop who could tell me how he began ranking up, and then from there, I just followed that strategy, and it surprisingly worked. So what it comes down to is that learning and growth come from taking information and applying it differently and taking different actions. Like that's really all there is to it. So that makes anything feel more manageable. And I ultimately earned my Eagle Scout rank by the time I was 15 and a half, I believe, 16, just because of everything that I learned there. Yeah, and then I can also add quotes or something. Maybe add a quote as well, and then we should be good to go. Okay. I'll let this run. In the background, I will be pulling up the HeyGen agent, which is the fun part. So it knows the best practices for HeyGen. I actually had it ingest the entire blog knowledge base for best practices for HeyGen. So that's why this is going to give good output. What you do here when you ask it to input the whole thing is to, let's see. I don't know. It's just to give all of the information that's relevant. Yeah, and if you did want to repeat this pattern, you could take this and ask it to output a full knowledge base that you can use to create a custom GPT based on your brand guidelines and the types of content that you like, and then it would be able to do it much more quickly and easily than if you set up a whole new ChatGPT instance. So I'm going to run this. It might take a bit of time to run, so if that happens, that's fine. I'll show you another example. But moving on to the next section, just a little bit of background on how AI actually works and what produces good input while it's running. So most people think that AI is just solely about prompts, but what matters almost just as much is the model that you're using and the context that you provide it. But the real unlock is context, because people don't pay hardly any attention to it, but that makes up, I'd say, at least 60% of how good the output is going to be, especially since you only have that context in your head, and the output needs to line up with that context for you to think it's a good output. So that's a little bit of jargon, but first, this should simplify it. Let's talk about the relationship between input and output. So AI is really just a tool to get you from your input state closer to your output state in much less time. For instance, we needed to write reports at my marketing agency based on like performance, how things trended, so on and so forth. What I was able to do was copy basically like the analytics and ad copy. I had it outputted into one area, and I just was able to copy it into a custom GPT, which is a bit of an automation. And then from there, it would write out, based on the examples that I gave from previous data that was similar, the types of like briefs and points that I could include in my like other briefing presentation. So from there, I took a process that normally took like an hour or 2 hours and turned it into something that was 5 minutes because we had the data readily available. Like I set up data pipelines to do that. And then we had the custom GPT with all of the context. And that's the big thing. We merged the context. We knew exactly what sort of outputs we were shooting for. And then through that prompt, we were able to create something that saved us a ton of time. So just think about it like this. Whenever you're using AI, if you can think, okay, what is my input? What sort of context do I need for a good output? What does a good output look like? And then what sort of prompt should I use from that? You're in a good place. And if you do want to make your prompt better, OpenAI also has a prompt improver. I've linked it somewhere up here. Yeah, the prompt optimizer. And then there's a lot of levels to prompts. Honestly, AI is getting better and better at working from poor prompts now, so this might not even be a huge differentiator. But if you try to hit all of the criteria, ask the AI to act as some sort of role and do the request and then reiterate your question at the end, have some examples, all of those helps your prompt to give better output. But it really is kind of a trial and error thing too. You just keep making tweaks until the output is as good as you think it's going to get. All right, so then phase 3, we already did start on this, but generating the script from HeyGen. There are best practices that HeyGen shares, so if you do want to get expert level with this, I'd suggest reading through those resources. You would choose your avatar. Oh, okay. And then HeyGen can also have you go back on it. Okay. Make the avatar in every shot, no background. Yeah, so you can still catch things and make it better. I think about half the time I add things, half the time I don't. And then at that point, you create the video in HeyGen's video avatar generator. So it's running. It's doing a lot of processes. This is actually a really high-level agent. I looked into the documentation there. It's usable with API, so if you're interested in that too, like it's pretty cool to check out. So there are situations where this really makes sense and can save you a lot of time, and then there's some situations where I think it's a waste of time, a waste of money. Each video that you're generating here, I would say, is around like $5 or so. It's not cheap, like $5 to $10. So unless you have some sort of generous plan, or you're working with a company, or you really hammered in on what sort of message you're trying to share, it does make it a little challenging to produce content at scale. So when it makes sense is if you're working for a company and you want professional looking content created quickly. If you're having a big block with being on camera. If you want consistency without production overhead, maybe you're making a course, maybe you're on the road a lot, but you want to create some sort of structured set of information, this is a great use case. Or if you're creating educational or informational content where delivery matters more than personality. Maybe you're instructing a class and you're just trying to communicate knowledge, and having a video there with diagrams and things that your B-roll avatar could point out would make it much more engaging. I think even just that little aspect of being more engaging would help a ton of people who are more visual learners actually get greater insight from your content and creation. Important reminder though, when creating with AI avatars, the quality of your output is more dependent on the quality of your thinking and context. Because let's say I made a UGC video, my personality would carry a lot. Obviously with AI avatar, it's AI, so you want to be very specific about the words that you use, about the amount of time that you have, and just try to make it as much information density as possible. Remove fluff. Don't just use platitude lines. Try to hone it in on things that are very specifically valuable, and then use images as well for that. Yeah, I just put together this little slide on using AI avatars responsibly. I'm just going to gloss over it, but I really encourage you to read through it fully in your own time. Transparency matters. Don't try to trick people into thinking that something that's AI is a real person. Intent should guide use. So again, explain things, educate, support understanding, but don't mislead, impersonate, manipulate, trick people into thinking like a human said something or did something. That's really important. Then finally, as a creator using HeyGen, human judgment is vital. You should never put something out there that you haven't reviewed. AI can scale communication, but it's still your responsibility to use this ethically and wisely and responsibly. So yeah, figure out where humans are especially important and make sure that you or they are there. If you are trying to use an AI replica, there are really cool ways where you can have a photo of yourself changed into different kind of photo settings. So I just used like 2 or 3 pictures of myself, uploaded it into this tool called Kivix. And what it was able to do is, oh, that didn't zoom well. What it's able to do was put me into cool suits and outfits, and all of these can speak with the AI avatar. So if you want to use that, that's a really cool way to try. And then you can upload them into HeyGen. All right, so here's some examples of how this could be used authentically and locally. Here's a video.
Is shutting down. So what happens to Haleiwa when the places that gave it its character keep disappearing? Coffee Gallery has been part of the North Shore marketplace since the late 80s. They just announced they're closing at the end of this month, and their final day is Saturday, January 31st. No official explanation, just a quiet goodbye.
Okay, so we don't need to watch this whole video, but as you can see, it's pretty well received. It has 1.7K likes, probably got him quite a few followers. But the thing about it is, this could very well be AI. I thought it was initially, like, for certain. I have seen a couple other videos on his page. They all look the same, but his hair is slightly different, so I'm not sure if he actually records this. But, like, this would be a great use case for HeyGen, and it could actually be done almost entirely programmatically. You just get 3 shots of B-roll, layer them over, have that run and loop in the background, or you could just use different shots as well. Have your AI avatar in the corner saying the script, and then you just okay the script. I think he might be doing it manually, but like this could definitely be done with AI on any kind of current news, and clearly it's well received. Here's an example of one that I created. So,
creation, where AI makes it easier to tell great stories and connect with your audience. HeyGen helps creators, marketers, and businesses produce high-quality videos quickly without complex setups or long production cycles. With HeyGen, you can choose from over 1,000 lifelike AI avatars or create a custom avatar that looks and sounds like you. In fact, I'm Coltrane's AI avatar speaking to your right now. HeyGen's Avatar i4 technology turns a single image into video with natural voice, accurate lip sync, facial expressions, and hand gestures. You can film yourself once and create a reusable video avatar, so you never need to be on camera again unless you want to. HeyGen also supports text to video, allowing you to generate complete videos directly from a script, removing the need for manual editing. The AI Studio Editor makes video creation feel as simple as writing a document.
okay, cool. So here's just another example of how Kivix can work, how it can put yourself over like B-roll background that's relevant. This had pretty minimal changes, so really cool things that you can do with AI avatars there. All right, finally, let's check on our video, see if that's complete yet. All right, they're still working on it. It's fine. Usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes. So finally, this gives us enough time to talk this over. This is a system that you can return to. What you actually did was automation in a way, because you learned each of the input components, how they were transformed through GPTs by adding context, and then finally creating a video output. So it's very multimodal, going from thoughts to ideas to writing to a knowledge base, and then out into a script, and then to an agent video. This isn't a one-off demo. This is a system that you can actually keep returning to again and again whenever you need to move from thinking to output. And you're already most of the way there because you've created that knowledge base, and it's something that you can refine. You can keep using the context capture GPT and dumping more and more information in, and then adding that to your knowledge base whenever you want. So congratulations, you are now a mini automator in a way. Now, there are programmers that use APIs to do this, so they don't need any interface, and it can run on its own, and then it'll end up in HeyGen where they're just ready to post. So that's taking it to the next level. But what you can use this kind of idea for outside of HeyGen videos is writing posts, newsletters, articles, preparing your talks or presentations, clarifying your position or messaging, and just turning your messy thinking into something more shareable and getting deeper insights there. This is really what I love. I am such a huge believer that we can solve problems almost permanently instead of needing to do the same thing over and over again. I've been in that rut where you just get stuck doing the same tasks over and over and you can't focus on what's really important. And by discovering automation, I've been able to break out of that to a large extent. And I think that a lot of businesses out there that are doing some really great work really deserve that as well. That's what my agency Aidgentic works on. We're also really hoping to position ourselves as a resource so people can learn more about the emerging technology and how to apply it effectively. So I have an automated newsletter for that, which I go over every week. So that's Homua Hawaii. Just reach out if you'd be interested in getting added. And thanks for watching. Now let's just check back on the HeyGen video. All right, so here we are in the HeyGen interface. It's loading, and then to the left you can see Video Agent, which is the tool that we use to create the video. You can change your avatar out, so you don't need to use this. There are public avatars. You're able to upload photos, different looks, so on and so forth. Once you complete a project, you can see it in the projects folder there. So we should be seeing our project right about now. Yep, Learn Through Scouting, just created by the Video Agent. It does take some time to finalize because it is working with video files, which of course very resource intensive. But let's look through another example really quickly. Here, Eagle Scout Fast Track. So this one's finished, and once you run your prompt, you should see the videos there. So you can edit it in different drafts. So I clicked the original, and then I added my AI avatar for the other version. So you can open it up like this and see an editing interface. So here we are in the editing interface. The really cool part is that you can edit the lip sync and the entire video just by typing different words. So sometimes it does say or there's a weird pause, so you can just edit it by changing the wording there. You can also play back the video.
First off, live by the Scout motto to be prepared. Start with a plan to earn each rank and work.
As you can see there are a video showing what's happening on the timeline. You can also swap out your avatar here with different avatars if I click on it. And there's the option to remove background as well. So in this example, I was able to remove the B-roll behind, or I was able to remove the background and then add myself over the B-roll. Yeah, there you have it. That's how HeyGen works. Hope you can use this video tutorial to build these types of things yourself. And thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.